Now the wind will start blowing. As I came out here and decided not to wear a lav mic, then the wind starts blowing. Let's see how we go today. Typically, it seems like when I stream directly through YouTube's app here on my phone, it seems like we get more notifications. Oh, I'm bleeding. That's cool. We get more notifications than usual. They appear on Fridays sometimes, Wolverine. It's gorgeous here, Lex. Why is it not so much there? Hey, Nolan. not good at all, Lex. It's probably about 81 or so degrees. Jack says my pants are off. Let's go. As it should be. The only way it should be. Is it, Lex? I've heard that, though, that it's dreary a lot of the time. I know it was that way for the short time I lived in the Pacific Northwest up near Portland, Oregon. I know it was like that. And I'm not one of these. Hey, Gigawatts. I'm not one of these, oh, yay, it's raining people. I hate it. Hey, Big Green. And Nick's here. Why am I wearing a hat? Because of that sun that's beating down right directly over my head. And it's obviously shading my eyes so I can read you guys' chat. Hi, Chrome. Seattle times 10. Yikes, Jack. Yeah, it used to get to me. I told you guys that before. I lived in a town in Oregon, not far from Portland, called Boring. And boy, was it aptly named. Agreed, Big Green. Never been a fan of the rain. It's been gorgeous here. It's been really gorgeous here. And the little bit of shading with my hat is not as severe as, if it gets too warm, I'm just going to move us over there underneath the porch. Jack, Wolverine says, I live in a fucking desert. Rain is welcome here. Yeah. Scotland's even worse for rain. A moment's silence for Chrome. I can't even imagine. Like I say, I've always hated the rain. And the gray. That's the thing that got me about the Pacific Northwest region, was it was just always gray. Nectar moved to Canada, London, Ontario a week ago. Good to be in North America finally. Yeah, congratulations. Very cool. Curtis and Anime coming back? I don't know. I actually have now. I have a setup where I could do it again. We're in my studio now. I have enough green screen area, which is what you need. Those were a blast. The only reason I slowly got away from them was they just didn't. Nobody seemed to be overly interested in them. They were a lot of fun to make. I love the cringy elements of them. It was a lot of fun. Lex says, I like the rain. It's usually more dull than rainy. Yeah, like I said, that's the way Portland was. I just couldn't deal with it. I about gassed myself out today. Yeah, I can move you guys around here. Right now, in our little backyard, we just have a small backyard here. But this extreme steep hill here is my responsibility to mow. And let me tell you, this thing is, I've ruined my shoes on it already because you're mowing the side of the hill and my big fat body is moving all the weight over to one side of the shoes. This is, I don't know if you guys can get an idea of the pitch from here, but this is the hill I have to mow. And maybe that angle will give you a little better idea. It is steep as shit. It makes me very, very tired. I'm old. That hill and I just don't get along. Oh my gosh. How often does it snow where we live now, Austin, in North Carolina? And it did not snow at all this winter here. The winter before, it snowed a couple of times, light amounts. And do I like the snow? I'm in North Carolina because I do not like the snow. Where I lived in New York, it snowed a lot. I am a huge Mario fan. That's true, Lex. That was it's fun. It's fun the interesting interactions we've had over the years and how they become iconic here at the channel. For those of you who don't know, it was actually an outdoor stream that day. It was back when I lived in New York. I took the gang up to see the Oriesville Shrine. It's just a gorgeous area, great setting. And while we were there, this kid came in insisting, what was it, that I would be playing a new Mario game, wasn't it? Whatever, insisting something to do with Mario would be coming to the channel soon because obviously I love it. And none of us knows where he got that idea. And when I told him that I'm not a Mario fan at all, I like Kart. Other than that, I can take or leave the Mario games. Nuh-uh, you love it. What are different types of edgy kids? I'm not sure what you're asking there. Edginess comes in a lot of different forms. I generally don't keep like a Rolodex or even a mental Rolodex of the different types of edginess. I don't know. Maybe being a Mario fan, that's something I should know. I don't know. I have not seen the Mario film yet, Chrome. My wife isn't into it. I couldn't talk her into it. So I'm still hoping to get to see it. It's doing so well, it might even still be in the theaters when Brax gets here next month. And if that's the case, him and I will go for sure. As Zuchan says, imagine if you fell and rolled down the hill. I'll tell you, I almost fall a couple times. You can't help it because it's a killer to try and mow it up and down. It just, excuse me, especially now, early in the year, the hill's still soft, so you do a lot of slipping. So I mow it, crossways, and it's so easy to just get your momentum going over. I'm sure one day I'll end up at the bottom of the hill. You played all the games, have an entire room dedicated to Mario Mech and a body fellow. Apparently so. I don't know how I forgot all that. Well, you guys know I have memory issues, but geez, you would have thought I would have remembered my absolute love for Mario. Alpha says, what's the weather usually like in North Carolina? Where we are, well, it doesn't vary a lot throughout North Carolina, but where we are, we're in the Charlotte area. How can I describe it best to you? Very, very pleasant. It's not perfection to the level of like a San Diego that has probably the most perfect weather in America. But it doesn't get as hot as Florida. And yet the winters are cool, but not cold. As I said, we got 0 snow this year. And if they do get snow down here, it's usually just a minor amount and it's gone during the day. Is the P for penis? It can. The P can be for whatever you want it to be. I don't care what the official logoing is. The 18th highest grossing animated film of all time already, Super Mario. Wow. Disney has to be worried. It's out in Japan on the 28th and might cross the billion mark before then. That's... Hey, as I said, Disney doesn't want to make anything original, so they're reaping what they don't sow. Nick says move back to New York. No, I did not miss that snow at all. At all. Big Green says, it could be the other P, the female one. Yeah, YouTube will censor you. Yeah, YouTube does a lot of censoring lately. In that case, it's penis. Big Green says, forget Pokemon. If you ever do find that Switch, you need to play a Mario game instead for the meme. Yeah, right now, I was telling Chrome, they've got me once again, and especially with the way things go for us, how it seems like we get dinged for things nobody else does. I would be hesitant to play anything Nintendo on the channel right now. Just with others having issues and Nintendo's reputation too. We know that in the past Nintendo has come along and just randomly started striking people who were playing their games. I was born in 1961. And I am 61. Wow, a lot of 61s this year. Huh. This is never a happy thing. So that just Nintendo things. Yeah, Big Green. No, it's fine. Like says, Nintendo are a nice company. Definitely won't turn you into a debt slave for the rest of your life. Yeah, it just seems best to just stay away from them, especially again when you combine the erratic nature of Nintendo with the erratic nature of YouTube. Jesus Christ. Evgeny says, now we know what will happen to you in hell. You mow upwards at the top, mower falls all the way down and grass grows back. That would be about, and it would be this exact hill too, I'm sure. Yeah, this hill hears a lot of curse words every time I mow it. How old are my parents? Nick's writing a biography on me. Let's see, my mother turned 88 in February, and my father stopped aging back in 2003 when he died. I mean, we could still keep track, but what's the point at this point? Chrome says the copyright strike thing literally just turned out to be a few people pirating the game and trying to monetize a modded Zelda game right before they release the big new one. Yeah, I had heard that, but I just, like I say, they just make me nervous. Nintendo makes me nervous. I mean, if we want to do something like that at the Goose, that's one thing. I don't think they'd go out of their way to come after it like they would have to there, but I think they definitely would run a risk at YouTube. Live action Lion King off its throne. Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing that at all. Again, as somebody who's a big fan of the Disney parks, I get pissed at Disney's really crappy selection of movies because they keep losing money. The parks are then, Disney turns to the parks to make up that money that's lost, and we end up paying out the ass. Flame Vortex, do you miss Filthy Frank's videos? Of course. Everybody that's a Papa Franco fan misses his videos. I mean, it's completely understandable why he stopped. I don't begrudge the man that at all. But do I miss them? Yeah, 100%. Those are some fun times. Some really fun times. What the hell is this? What do you do right there? The Pokemon games? They're on a Sword and Shield. Yeah, Wolverine. Brax and his fiance are big into the Pokemon games, especially. I think Brittany even more than Brax. I don't know. They're both into it. Did I witness 9/11? I was at work when it actually happened. I got home a few hours after it happened. Of course, like everybody else, watched the footage of it. I had been in New York City just the week before. Roger says, where are you at? I'm sitting in my backyard. What do you think about Disney's alleged park plans? Supposedly there will be a politically correct Frontierland redesign and the new park may be villain theme. The new villain theme thing is cool. I hadn't heard anything about a politically correct Frontierland redesign. I know some people are saying that the re-theming of Splash Mountain is for political correctness. That may be true. Thanks, Roger. That may be true, but that one doesn't really bother me at all because I think it makes a lot of sense on Disney's part to get rid of that Brer Rabbit theming. I didn't even like. I'm old enough to remember when that was a thing, and I don't even like it. And to go with, oh gosh, what's the name of the movie, guys? The Princess and the Frog. And to go with that theming instead, I think that makes... Does Disney do things sometimes just for the political correctness pop? Yes, absolutely. I don't think this one's it. I think this one's a good idea. Nick says, have you seen celebrities naked? Of course. You can't be a connoisseur of the adult arts like I am without having seen celebrities naked. That's a given. Have I seen celebrities naked? Not too many of them up close and personal. I mean, all the ones that caught me filed restraining orders and shit. Weird questions today, indeed, Big Green. You peep in one window and you're a peeping Tom for life. Jesus Christ. I've seen myself naked. I don't like to think about that though, Lex. It's disturbing. I'll clarify this as well. Chrome says if we ever did get a Pokemon stream, it's the Game Freak and Pokemon Company who controls the copyright. Nintendo has near zero involvement on that end. Oh, do they? Is it? I just, like I say, I know, not even necessarily this go round, but in the past, I know there's been serious issues with Nintendo games on the platform where they just, and it came out of the blue. And I just try and stay as aware of that stuff as I can, because as you see, just like what we're going through now, we got videos blocked that are done in the exact same vein of the exact same content by tons of people. So I don't know. Just got to be something about this charming face. Wolverine says for $2 say something cringeworthy. For $2 I say cringeworthy things all the time. That's not, I don't, Wolverine, you're here every stream just like many of the others are. I say cringy stuff all the time. I can't out cringe myself on command. I didn't choose Ambrose. It was suggested, Kaiser, in the stream, in the naming stream. I mean, I selected it after it was suggested. I just thought it sounded good. But the thing there is, I'm working on some different software, hoping to get it working with Ambrose, just because of all the issues I had with him last time. Hey, Ozzy. So we'll see how that goes. I've got other software that works better, but for some reason I got to get a hold of the company. It's having trouble with its mouth recognition. Chrome says they want to erase Song of the South. It's a shame because they're also erasing the first black man to win an Academy Award. Well impressed. Well, again, that's you can look at it that way. I don't know that they're trying to erase it. I'm not into it. I never got into Song of the South when I was young, and I actually like Princess and the Frog better. To me, it makes sense to have one of your marquee rides modeled after one of your more recent properties. You know, one of your more recent IPs. Could political correctness have something to do with it? Sure. With Disney? Absolutely. But again, it's one that makes sense otherwise, too. Sure, and a lot of people complain about the racist overtones of Song of the South, but again, it was the era. I got $2 if you can make fire hot. Jack says. I don't know, I can't do that. You wonder how many, I just thought, you wonder how many neighbors are looking out their windows right now going, what the hell is going on over there? Calling the FBI. He's sizing up the neighborhood for something. Johnny says, I see we're not ashamed to wear Bucks gear, but let's see how long it's going to last. Oh, it won't last long, Johnny. If you, well, you're a Pirates fan too. They do this every year. The only reason they have decent records at the beginning of the year is because they always get rid of their talent. So they have new pitchers rotating through all the time. And until the league sees a pitcher a couple times, they can generally perform a little better because the hitters aren't sure what to expect. They'll fade, just like they did last year and several years prior. They're thinking that's why he's got a big P for penis on his hat. It's funny. I have more people make comments about this hat and I've had a slew and still have a slew of different hats than any of the others. Everybody just likes this retro era with the Pirates. Just turned into a waifu, Tori says. Big Green says the movie where they push lemmings to their death is way more offensive than Song of the South. Yeah, see, I never cared. Again, the racist overtones of Song of the South were purely indicative of the period. They were accurate to the period. I mean, it might make people uncomfortable, but it wasn't inaccurate. So I don't have an issue with it. I just think having one of your premier rides represented by one of your recent IPs is a better idea. I'd be down for the Princess and the Frog ride if it means we get the song. See, I don't know how they're going to theme that list. You would think, you know, you had when it was Splash Mountain, it was themed after Song of the South. Yeah, they were playing Bare Necessities the whole time through. So you would think the music has to be there. Come on down to South Park, gonna have myself a time. Friendly faces everywhere, humble folks without temptation. That's great stuff. Capsule toy sales are important as well, but the film barely breaking even isn't. Oh, okay. I'm sorry, I didn't see what that conversation was about. Disney's wanted to redesign Splash for a decade now, partly for political reasons, partly for marketing the new IPs. Funny they chose Princess and the Frog. Film barely even broke even. It barely broke even at the box office, Chrome, but in the aftermarket and in merch, it does extremely well. Extremely well. So it's not, to me, it's not that bad an idea to utilize it in that sense because they sell a lot of Princess and the Frog merch. And what's her name? What's the character's name? The princess. She's very popular in the parks. Yeah, it's still a popular IP, and everyone still knows it well, right beyond the capsule. Yeah, and again, I know that's why you see so much Princess and the Frog merch in the parks because it sells. Nacho says, I thought in real time implosion at Disney would start in full near my death or after, so it's a bit bizarre, but it's entirely very fun to watch. Their selection, Tiana, thank you, Tori. Yes, Tiana. Their selection of movies is just abysmal. This constant making live action remakes of their existing animated films, and the animated films are great, and then the remakes turn out to be dog shit. Have a new idea. Have an original idea. Even if it's with the existing characters, have an original idea. Like the Super Mario movie. You know, there's nothing new about Mario and Luigi, but it's a new concept. You know, and they wrote something. They didn't just rewrite something. It's just, and again, those of us who enjoy the parks, like my family and I, we are the ones who end up literally paying for it. IP, I think it's time to promote NordVPN. Excuse me. Alex says that movie's not woke. They made the frog French for a reason. I am retired from my day job, Nick, of course, but you know I make my living from doing videos. Mainly, I mean, obviously on YouTube, but it's the Goosh that supports everything I do, that allows me to do all this. Excuse me. I was never into Sonic, Nolan. I don't dislike him. It's only because I was never into the games that were just about speed. They look cool, but they didn't hold my interest for very long. You know, I would play a Sonic game just to see how fast the little bastard could go, but it never really held my interest. So I never got into the related entertainment with it. Conway says, I watched The Princess Bride for the first time in forever, and Andre the Giant did a great job in that movie. He was funny, wasn't he? He was good in that. He was good. That's true, Big Green. He says, yeah, you're a big Mario fan, not Sonic, right? You're right. Yeah, Andre was awesome in Princess Bride. I love Princess Bride. It's a great movie. Phenomenal movie. Chrome says, Sonic games are good fun. The music is great as well. Michael Jackson actually composed some of the original game songs. That's cool. If I knew that, I'd forgotten that. I wasn't aware. But again, it was just because, you know, I don't know how they developed over the years, but the original Sonic games were just about speed, and I just was never into the, you know, how fast can I go game. Do we have a garden? No, Shelby, we don't have a garden. Nope. Like I say, we just got a little small yard out here. David said run a mile. I ain't doing any running after mowing that hill. That is a killer. That hill is just, I can't even describe to you guys how steep it is. Chrome says, going to make a massive guess here. Because of the Mario movie's success, Disney's going to try and acquire a major game studio to harvest its IPs for films. Or scavenge LucasArts old games. That could happen. That could happen. Oh, the stacks of lumber? No, that's a retaining wall. because as you can see, the neighbor's house sits up on a hill, and so that wall is put up there to make sure that none of that hill falls down into our yard. There's stairs, Jack says. Yeah, that's just to keep the hill from falling down. Mortem says, you ever roll around the grass out back? Not on purpose. When you get to be my age, sometimes you fall down and you roll around unintentionally. But that was one of the few things I always had. Athletically, I always had excellent balance. I have, and I'm not exaggerating, I have slipped and fallen. Everybody slips. But I have slipped and hit the ground, I'll bet you no more than 8 times in my life. I don't know why. I've always had decent balance. Maybe just because I'm a giant fat ass and that center of gravity holds me. That could very well be it. Buddha says Andre the Giant was the professional's professional. As a wrestler, 100%. Just, thanks, Waffles. As I've said before, just by the fact that he handed the reins as top guy over to Hogan, somebody that he just could not stand, but he did it out of respect for the business. He knew that's what needed to happen, so he did it. Those are steps for people with 1/10 of a foot. Yeah, Mortem. Yeah, this whole area, and as you guys can hear, it's so quiet here too. Well, we have a decent amount of car traffic because the street we live on is like a connector for some of these developments, but they don't allow truck traffic through here. So it's always quiet. It's like this all the time. The only thing you hear and I enjoy that actually, you hear the gentle sounds of aircraft. We're far enough away from the airport, it's a gentle sound here. But yeah, it is, Chrome. That's been the big attraction for me here. I love the neighborhood, love the area, so much to do. You know, so even whether it's want something to eat or like when my wife's brother came in, there's always things to take somebody out and go have a good time with. We went to he's a big golfer. We went to Top Golf, and there's just a lot of stuff to do around here. We do not have any trains in the area. Thankfully, Zuchen, we do not. Chrome says, I just don't see the superhero trend lasting too much longer, honestly. It's in massive decline box office wise this year, right? So Disney, if they're not stupid, will have to look for the next trend. You're right. I agree with that, Chrome. I think when the Avengers story tied up, I think that signaled, and I understand why, because I was a superhero fan from the time I was a little kid, but I get that. When Avengers tied up, and I think they did it remarkably well, it's like, okay, I'm good. I don't need any more superhero movies now. At least for a time. Wolverine says, have you considered moving to a train station? Yeah, I can't say I miss that because I don't miss it. Although if I am re-editing an old video or something like, you know, when I repost the Try Not to Laughs from when we're up in New York, it is a little bit nostalgic to hear the the train whistle. Nick says, when did you retire? January of 2017 was when I retired from my day job. Yeah, I agree, Licks. And again, I'm okay with that. Endgame was brilliant. I love that whole series. Just loved it. But it had a nice conclusion. I like both DC and Marvel, Zuchen. Growing up, without even realizing the difference, I was more DC because back then, well, the biggest names back then were Superman and Batman. But I'll watch either. I like the heroes from both universes. Jack says, why do people always ask me like DC or Marvel? You can't like both. No, it's funny, Jack. I think just because so many people, it is death one over the other. And yeah, I'm with you. I like both of them. And I get that question a lot too. And some people press you on it. It's like, well, if you could only watch one or the other, it's like, well, fortunately, that's not the case. I can watch either, and it would depend on my mood. Yes, I agree. Chrome says people like competition. I just enjoy what I want. Yeah, me too. That's why even when people talk about favorite things in anime and stuff. I love anime. I don't have a lot of clear-cut favorites because it depends on moods. Now there are certain things, as I've told you, I have a favorite arc. It's the Chimera Ant arc from Hunter x Hunter. But a favorite anime, not really, because it depends on what kind of mood I'm in. I have contenders, and I'll tell you what. For those of you who are over with us over at the Goosh, you know what's really moved up my list with catching up on this season even higher? It was already something I really enjoyed. Is Mob Psycho 100. This is, wow, this is amazingly good. I have a favorite arc. It's the one Noahville. Rick says, goddamn, Mob Psycho 100 is brilliant. So freaking good. Chrome says, fair, I've got preferences for some things in genres. Yeah, me too. Yeah, like I said, you know, there will be something here or there that just stands out to me, and it's like, okay, I can say that's my favorite. But for the most part, it's usually more like tiers. But woof, that Mob Psycho 100 is good. And, oh, that too for you folks who are at YouTube. Now, what I'm going to do is over at the Goosh, excuse me, we have a schedule set now. I'm going to be watching all those shows that we had started at YouTube. What I'm going to do is, once I have them complete at the Goosh, then I'll try and bring them to YouTube for you. The reason I'm doing it that way is when they're a daily show at the YouTube channel and they get blocked, it screws up my whole schedule. Because now I don't have a video that I just put a lot of time in to post to the channel, and it messes me all up. Once I have them all made for the Goosh, then the editing is significantly less time because I've already got a finished video. I just have to cut up the pieces I want to show you guys, and if it gets blocked, it doesn't destroy my whole day's schedule. So eventually, I will try and bring them back over to you guys, but I'm not going to do it until we get them done at the Goosh. Lick says, Ant-Man 3 is just a shameless ripoff of the cinematic masterpiece Shark Boy and Lava Girl. Is it? Is it, Licks? Ant-Man's all right. I love, oh gosh. What's the name? Dude who plays Ant-Man. Another name not going to come to me. But, I love him. But the movies have, Paul Rudd. Thank you, Licks. I love Paul Rudd. Always have. You think so, Xavier? He says One Piece takes like 500 chapters to get good. See, I would disagree. I like One Piece right from the get-go. From literal episode 1, I loved One Piece. Everything about, I mean, the original relationship between Shanks and Luffy and everything, damn, so good. Oh, yes. One of my favorites, Dayton. Dayton Chris says Paul Rudd in Role Models was hilarious. Yeah, he was. Role Models is funny as hell. I imagine most of you guys have seen it. If you've never seen Role Models, sit down and watch it sometimes. You'll laugh your ass off. Great, great movie. So freaking funny. The little black kid in there, he cracks me up. He was solid. Little wise ass. That was good. Ashley says, what is the weirdest face you can make? I'm currently practicing the anime V smile. I got weird covered all over the place. Big Green says, I haven't even kept up with One Piece anymore, and I have to disagree. Season 1 was great, seeing Luffy slowly build up his crew. I agree, Big Green. Yeah, One Piece hooked me immediately. Immediately. That was just, And it's never let up for me. You know, we're, up over the Goose, what are we at, 1,000? Well, you guys haven't seen it yet. I watched 2 more to catch up to current, so we're at 1,058, and hasn't let up at all for me. Sure, I've seen Thomas the Train, Nick. He's a train, though, so I can't be a fan. From 5 to now, I loved reading and watching Harry Potter, Alzy. I say it all the time. I really want to see the Harry Potter movies. I still have not done that. Chrome says, I like One Piece, but it's not one of my favorites, but I still enjoy it. Yeah, see, for me, it's right up there for me. That elite tier, I got a lot in my elite tier, though, now. One Piece and Hunter x Hunter for sure. And I would move, after this season, I would definitely move Mob Psycho 100 in there as well. Um, oh gosh, what? I'm gonna struggle for names now. It's gonna be one of those days. There's one that I don't think will be on a lot of people's elite list and is on mine. It's gonna drive me nuts. You know what? Oh no, I'm I'm reaching for my phone as I look into my phone. Um, oh, God damn! I can't because I was gonna look up the. I have the song from the this anime I'm thinking of. I have it in my phone, so I could see what the name was by just checking out the song. Yeah, I'm blanking out. Watching this in VR, Kiawa, you don't want it to be to get too real. How old is my grandpa? Oh, my grandfathers have been dead for many decades. Oh, Silent Voice is great, Tori. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. Oh, this anime I'm trying to think of. It's about a bunch of high school kids and they're. I'm trying not to give too much away because I want to be able to come up with. I want to be able to come up with the title. It's driving me nuts. And the summer they spend together, but they end up sharing things that you don't want to share. They are able to listen to one another's thoughts, feel what one another, and it starts out with them feeling what one another feels, and it's just an amazing story of people. And the song in it is brilliant. Yeah, I was just gonna say, I started with a bunch of high school kids. I was thinking the same thing. Same thing, Liz. That narrowed it down. Okay, well, Rain, thanks for being in. Doing good, Micah. One Piece, like says, yeah. That's it. No, it's story-wise. Once the story starts unfolding, Kisniver, Evgeny knew it. I was gonna say because Kisniver, thank you, Evgeny. I don't know why I couldn't think of that name. Kisniver is on my elite list, and I know that doesn't make a lot of them. I enjoyed the hell out of that. I thought that story was so freaking well told. So well told. Chrome says, well, there's the HBO Max Harry Potter series in the works. That's a potential one for the Patreon if it turns out well. Oh, that'd be cool. Shane was hoping for hentai. Oh, Kisniver. Again, it may be something that maybe it just hit me just right, but I couldn't recommend it more if you guys are looking for something. I have watched No Game, No Life. Austin, I was not as high on that as were some others. Now, I can honestly and fairly say I have not watched an anime yet that I didn't enjoy. Did you like it, Retro Mint Man? I thought it was great. I just thought it was so good. But that's only because I have you guys recommending them to me. So I'm fortunate I don't get stuck with the crap that maybe a lot of you guys stumbled onto because, for us to watch it, it's got to win a poll or nominations and a poll and everything. So No Game, No Life sexualized too much for my taste. Yeah, and it's hard to describe why. I mean, the story was good, and I enjoyed time watching it, but it's nothing I would watch again or nothing that left any lasting impression with me. Rick says, why would you ever want a 100% faithful adaptation of the Harry Potter books? Those books are actually awful. Really, Lix? Really? I'm surprised. Retro Mint Man says, I think Kisniver has some really good tools and concepts. If anything, I just feel we didn't get enough time with the characters. I love them so much I wanted more. I can agree with that. I can absolutely agree with that. And the music. Just so good. So good. Nolan says, didn't like Akami Ga Kill or redo of Healer or you didn't like Failed Knight? I did. I like Chivalry of a Failed Knight. Again, not something that made my elite level, but I really enjoyed that one. I didn't see the others. Dimmy, that cracks me up. I haven't seen all of it yet. Alpha has sponsored it here and there, so I've gotten to see good hunks of it. It's pretty funny. It is. I like the shtick in Bo. What is a concept I would like to see in anime? anime? Oh, I don't know, Zuchen. I hadn't really thought about it. I've never sat and thought, this is what's missing. Anime covers so many different areas and does it so well. I've never really thought about it. Oh, Bo is hilarious, Dayton. Baby. Just hanging out talking to you guys, Austin. That's it. Alpha says Berserk 2016. Time to watch those contorting faces of cringe and disappointment. Oh, Alpha. Berserk was just, oof. Berserk was so many different things. The story was great. The action was phenomenal. And the absolute brutal cringe was, oof. Retro Mint Man says, I'm currently watching the sequel show to Higurashi again. I'm loving how we get a lot of character growth since it's such a typically dark. Oh, yeah. I only saw, the first go round with it. And yeah, dark is the word. That was, it's funny how things leave an impression on you. Whenever I think of Higurashi now, obviously you think of the dark, disturbing story. But I think of that sound of the cicadas. Because it was always in the background. Because it was set in, it was all set in the summer. Oh, man. Austin said, I love putting. Playing mini golf. Pudding. Okay, that's better. You can't be a fat guy like I am and not love pudding. You have to. It's the rules. I have seen Cyberpunk Edge Runners. It's amazing. When I watched the show, I was watching Cyborg hentai or something. That's fair. Yeah, it was good, though. It was really good. Last year was a good year for anime with Chainsaw Man and Cyberpunk Edge Runners. Penny is talking with Garter Belt. I absolutely have, Charlie. It's so freaking funny. The two little awesome sluts. They're the best. I love that show. Nacho says, I should probably get back to the... Oh, I lost you, Nacho. Where'd you go? There you are. Back to the Higurashi sequel. I think I stopped when I felt it was going away from the direction of Umineko. Yeah, I haven't seen the sequel. Austin says, I love Evan Bourne. What about you and... What about me and Paul Heyman? Heyman's a legend in the business, deservedly. Man knows the business inside and out. Mr. Popo, no, Popo, no. He says, have you seen Dragon Ball Super Duper by Super Sense Blue? There are only 2 episodes out, but has the potential to become the next DBZA, in my opinion. No, that sounds fun. I'm sure we'd find a way to get a strike on it, but it does sound fun. I did hear that, Alpha. He says, did you hear that Kishimoto is making a one-shot manga for Naruto's dad, Minato? Yeah, because he won the poll, right? I did hear about that. Chrome kept me updated on that. That's kind of cool. I like that concept. I think that's neat. Kaiser says, who are the most badass anime characters you watch personally? Oh, that list is just, again, I'm not good at, this one was the ultimate. There are so many, there are so many badasses just in One Piece and Hunter x Hunter alone. There's just too many. Chrome says the top 3 in that poll was Minato, Itachi, and Sakura. I feel trolling was oh, I think so. One of those things is not like the others. Yeah, I agree. Sakura got 3rd place. Alpha says that's when everybody started getting serious. Yeah, that I kind of agree with Chrome. That sounds like a little bit of trolling. Minato, Itachi, and Sakura. And I'm not even a Sakura hater, but come on. As far as powerful characters. And by powerful, I'm not talking about fighting ability. I'm talking about great characters. Let's see. Chrome says, oh, God, you just reminded me. Apparently, there will be a new Bo episode later this year. Really? For the 20th anniversary. And damn it. There's a weird crossover thing with Pretty Cure, the series from my G100 poll. Oh, that's cool. That's cool. Hey, Moderate Gohan when he was like 9 years old. Yeah. Gohan before Chi-Chi started nerfing him on us. I just never. It's funny how I can't say I hate Chi Chi. I don't hate the character. She's annoying to me though. She is just seriously annoying. Oh really? Jack says the One Piece fan base was trying to sabotage the poll. Yeah, because again, when you get Itachi and Minato, and you're like, oh, this is going to be good. Who's third? And then it's like, wait, Sakura? Evgeny says, how's my relationship with the neighbors? They're great. All our neighbors are great. Our neighbors right behind me here, the people on the other side of this uh, lumber lumber wall, the retaining wall, um, have become good friends, especially my wife and the woman who lives next door. These people, let's see, yeah, you guys can see this house right here. They work a lot. He's not home a lot, but one day, a couple months after I moved in here, he just came walking up the hill and introduced himself. Super, super nice people. I don't know if you can see it. I think they moved it because they mowed. They, which I think is a great idea. My wife and I should do it. They keep a badminton net down there, and him and his wife will go out whenever they have time, and they just play a little badminton for exercise and stuff. Super nice people. And then here we are in North Carolina. I retired from the city of Amsterdam, New York. That's where I worked. And this gentleman here in this house used to work for a hospital in Amsterdam, New York. It's amazing how small the world is sometimes. Austin says, do you like Ultimate Warrior? I really didn't like him that much. Jim Hellwig as a person? No. As a wrestler? Not really. He sucked. He was a terrible wrestler. He was awful. But he had a great gimmick. And I don't take that away from anybody. I don't like, I'm not just going to sit here and shit on successful people in the business. He had a great gimmick. He looked good. He knew what he, for the most part, knew what he could do, what he couldn't do, and he stuck to it. But he was a abysmal worker. Terrible. And I just was never a fan of Jim Hellwig, the person. He definitely, we talked about how Andre had all the respect in the world for the business. Jim Hellwig was the polar opposite of that. His work in the ring showed it. Yeah, Johnny, and he had no love for the business. It was a way to make money. Now, that's not necessarily bad. Brock Lesnar will tell you that he's in the business for the money. The difference is Brock Lesnar will go in there and work his ass off in a match. And Brock Lesnar will go out there and put you over. When Brock Lesnar sees somebody coming down, and he's done it many times, coming down that ramp, who he knows needs a push, and the best way you get a push is to be intimidating to the resident monster, which is him, he puts you over. Brock Lesnar is so good for the business. I don't care what anybody says. I don't care that he's only there for the money. Good for him. I hope he's making lots of it because he entertains the shit out of me. Zuchen says, oh, teen Chi-Chi yes, but adult Chi-Chi no. Yeah, like I say, Chi-Chi just really started getting on my nerves. Stone Cold, he was brilliant. Conway, again, just phenomenal. Could do it. There was nothing Stone Cold couldn't do. Now, he was the opposite of that. Stone Cold could have a good match with a broom handle. He could work. It's so sad what happened to him with the injuries. And it's really sad that it was Owen Hart that did that. That always, I could never really, hi Carrie. I could never really, justify that in my mind. Because Owen was such a phenomenal worker, and to do something that egregious, it's really unfortunate. He should have never gone through that pile driver. He had to know he had him way too low. You got to just drop the move. Johnny says, I have a stunning Steve Austin autograph. Wow. My dad got way back in the, yeah, stunning Steve? That had to be way back. Wow. Big Green says, Chi-Chi's character took a nosedive when she became Goku's wife for sure. Yeah, I agree. And she just became just so annoying. Just annoying in general. Really? Chrome says, honestly, Chi-Chi is perfectly fine in the manga. Those annoying parts are just filler the anime added. Huh. I can believe that. Austin says, thoughts on having one more match if you could. Who would you like to wrestle? I would love to. I wouldn't do it unless I got serious about getting in shape for at least 3 months, because I'm not going to go in and be gassed out in 3 minutes. I'm not going to do a Chief J Strongbow thing. As far as who, there's the list goes on. I mean, just guys in the indies, I would like to work one last time. If you're talking about WWE guys, well, of course, with my style of wrestling, I would always thought it would have been great fun to wrestle Mick Foley, but obviously he's not working anymore. Mark Calloway, he's retired. But anybody. Dayton says, I heard Toriyama doesn't know how to write women characters. He can introduce them good, but when they... Whoa, shit, I lost it. But when they stick around long, they're just there. Well, didn't he... I think, Chris, didn't Toriyama admit that himself? If I'm remembering properly? Didn't he say that in an interview or something, that he just kind of lamented the fact that he's just not good at writing women? The Undertaker, yeah, Mark Calloway says, yeah, would have been, I mean, it just would have been something really cool to have said you worked with him. Yeah, we're doing good down here, Carrie. Doing good. Evgeny says, has any of them asked what your job is? How hard was it to explain people from around the world pay you $100 a month to what? I'm not sure what you mean, Evgeny. Oh, you mean neighbors? Have neighbors asked that? Yeah, the thing of it is, like the people next door, they're a little older than us. It's almost impossible to describe it to people of my generation, and it's simple to describe it to people of the younger generation. Because if it's somebody who's 28 comes up to me and says, what do you do? And I say, well, I've got a YouTube channel and a Patreon, and I make videos for both. They're like, oh, cool. On what? I said, well, mostly anime. We do a lot of Try Not to Laugh. So they're like, oh, okay, cool. That's cool. And that's all needs to be said. If you get somebody my age asking, you'll say, I'll say, well, I make videos online. Oh, and you can make money doing that? Well, yeah, you can. You get ad revenue, and then I have another system where people actually make donations to watch the videos I make. Oh, you can do that. How do you do that? It's like they just have no idea. It gets to be a whole thing just trying to explain it. So, and again, it's funny, the disparity, because if it's somebody young, it's the simplest explanation in the world. If it's somebody older, it takes a while. Yeah, Masak says, what the hell is a YouTube? Oh, you'd be surprised. People my age, at least in my experiences, have no idea that you get a revenue share or anything on YouTube. Big Green says, Chi-Chi certainly didn't help, but Gohan kind of nerfed himself. Oop. Come here. Keeps falling down. After Cell Saga, he just decided to be boring and study. Thankfully, Dragon Ball Superhero happened. Well, that's what I meant, though, Big Green. Don't you think that Chi-Chi was largely responsible for that, though? I mean, he did decide to get boring and be Mr. Studious and everything. But that was at Chi-Chi's insistence, I would think. Austin says, how good was Batista? I didn't like him that much. What about Ric Flair and Triple H? You don't get better workers than Ric Flair and Triple H. Batista started out rough. Boy, when he first came in, I was like, this guy looks good, but it's going to get annoying watching him. But to his credit, he took the shit serious and he learned. I mean, by the time Batista left the WWE, he deserved being a top flight worker. He really did. He got way better on the mic and was certainly much better at telling a story in a match. So, Ashley says, familiar with Chris Jericho? Sure. His band Fozzy. Yeah, his band Fozzy. Chris Jericho. Again, you just can't say, whether you're a fan of his or not, can't say a sideways word about his ability to work. He's a phenomenal professional wrestler. Zuchen says, what is the neighbor's reaction when you tell them you used to be a wrestler? That's kind of universal. People get that. People get a little, depends. I shouldn't say freaked out by it. They get freaked out by it if they came across it and they've seen some of the pictures online where I'm, covered in blood and stuff like that. Most people really enjoy that. I get more questions to this day about wrestling than I do, making videos or anything else. People always want to know different things about the business. How did you guys go about doing this? And didn't it hurt when you do that? And fortunately, I can talk about wrestling forever. I'm hoping to make the time to make more videos for the Curtis Candy channel. I told everybody I'll move them over there. And now it seems like the wrestling videos I posted here after they've been up for a little while are getting a little traction. So I'm not sure. I know when we do streams, we have a lot of wrestling fans, but I don't like to disrupt the flow here. But when the wrestling videos first went up, it's like, okay, that's what I expected. It's the channel really isn't in that direction. So I'll move them to the Curtis Candy channel. But now when they've been up a little bit, it's like more and more people are finding them. So I don't know what to do with that. Did somebody say blood? Like I said. Nacho says Kishimoto can't write female characters to save his life. With Toriyama, it's just that he loves gag comedy more than story. That's fair. Austin says, would you change anything on your channel? No. It's morphed a lot over the years. We've gone into different things that we like doing, but no, I've had too good a time. And I would be afraid. See, the lasting thing on the channel for me is the friendships I've made and the community we've created and the close-knit community. And I wouldn't change anything in the channel because if I did, it might alter that. Some of the people that I've grown really close with might not be here or something. Might not have found their way here. Boomers to millennial. God damn it. Boomers to millennials, Nectar says, how do you make money from YouTube? Millennials to boomers, how do you make money? No regrets, right, Conway? The real friends were the warlocks we made along the way. I'm Mr. Wall. Yeah, that would be why I wouldn't change anything, because I wouldn't want to change this crew that we have now. I don't know. What do you guys think? Hey, this is there's only like 45 of us in here, but how about you guys? When I make wrestling related videos, should I put them here? What's your take on them? Yeah, I like seeing them. No, they're not my thing, but they don't bother me. Or no, we shouldn't clog up the works here with wrestling videos. What do you guys think? Because I did that one where I was watching some botch videos and commenting on them and breaking down the botches. That was a blast. What do you guys think about that? Because initially it didn't look good, but after they sit here a while, you like them, Big Green? It just seems like whenever we have streams, whenever I have live interaction, there's a lot of people wrestling fans, it seems, in here. Don't watch Wrestling Chrome? That's understandable. There's definitely an audience for it. I say do it. It wasn't a Botchamania video, Mr. Popo, but it was same concept. Sure. Tap out? Yeah, I've tapped out. Again, Mr. Harlan, the chat bots were just something that people lost interest in for whatever reason. Listen, I like it when shirtless men grab each other's groins. That's fair. Charlie says, did you know there's going to be a new Hell of a Boss episode this month? I did. I can't wait. Alpha says, let's go all for the wrestling reactions. All right. Maybe I will keep them here, because I will definitely be making more. But I only made the 2 recently. I made the one where, again, breaking down the botches. And then I posted the one about the promo I cut with my little brother. That was a great time. Mintman says, wrestling is in my blood since my uncle was a wrestling promoter before he died. Oh, that's cool. And of course, I'm a lifelong fan. So me personally, I love seeing it. All right, maybe I will keep them here, because I'm definitely going to make them. It was just a matter of whether I was going to put them here or on the Curtis Candy channel. Jack says, it's your expertise too, so saying ex-pro wrestler in the title of his would help and give it time to work, of course. Yeah, maybe I will keep them here. Excuse me. Because it did seem like, well, because I've told you guys over and over, the only good thing YouTube does is stats. They give us really good numbers so you can figure out what's going on. The wrestling videos did not do well when I first posted them, but they do better over time than videos of that view amount usually do. And those extra viewers that come in late are from the channel. They're returning viewers. So that tells me that there is an interest in it here, but that YouTube just didn't send out the initial notifications. YouTube decided, okay, this is different than what you're doing. This doesn't make us enough money. Screw you, we're not sending out notifications. But as days went by and people just naturally found them, they were watching them. With all this selling WWE stuff in the media, there's a big awareness of it again. True, Jack. That's very true. Austin says, favorite pie is pumpkin. What about you? And would you rather hang out with, I'm not sure what you meant there, Roxham? I like pumpkin pie. Specifically, though, I like the way my mom made it. My mom made it different than any I've had, and I'll eat pumpkin pie anytime, but hers was specifically the best. As far as favorites, again, it depends on mood. I like most any of the fruit pies. I'm a fruit pie. You guys knew that? I like blueberry, like apple, like cherry. Cheese, my cherry pie. YouTube equals folding chair says, yeah. American cheese on apple pie. Oh, Arstog, and so many people do that too. And apple pie is so good, and then they put that nasty affront to everything that is decent on it. And that goddamn American cheese. Total fruitcake, Big Green. Completely. The Rock likes pie. Yeah, Mint Man. Lick says, every now and then I get recommended that video of you being interviewed about your retirement. That's always one. It's funny you say that. It's funny you say that, Lick. I just got that recommended to me. It's like, YouTube's recommending me. Well, that one didn't come from my channel. That's why I was going to say it doesn't need to recommend my own videos. But now that I think about it, that's not on my channel. It's just out there on the internet. Yes, I got it recommended to me not too long ago, too. Austin says, hang out with Rock, Austin, Taker, or Randy. Just to hang out with, from what I know of the guys, Austin or Taker for sure. Just because I would love to just be able to listen to their stories. I would, the way that both of them came up in the business and everything, I would really just like to be able to pick their brains. Big Green says, that's what I've been saying, Curtis. If you did more wrestling content, people would enjoy it. Well, we'll give it a shot, Big Green. I'll be posting some soon then if you guys want. I want to post another one of those botch breakdowns. Those are fun. Because and I like, just like I did in the last one, it's fun to explain sometimes too. People come down too hard on the workers sometimes. If you think about it, botches happen in every sport. You see, whether it's basketball, football, baseball, you see them do stupid things all the time because nobody can be spot on all the time. Your body just doesn't do what you want it to do sometimes. So sometimes I think things get looked at as a wrestler screwing up when it was just one of those things like that. In that last video, Lex Luger I think he was just going for an axe handle or something off the second, and he just slipped and fell. I was like, is it technically a botch? Sure. But is it because he was undertrained or wasn't doing what he was supposed to do? No, it's just it's shit that happens. His foot slipped. Everybody's foot slips sometimes. So it's fun to see, to pick out the differences. Now, some of the other botches in that video were just because they were undertrained greeners that should not have even been in the ring yet. Curtis Candy should wrestle the Grapist for his last match. Dimmy says, I remember watching Undertaker out of character, and it was so weird because I thought he was actually undead as a kid. Dimmy, he did a phenomenal job for, well over 2 decades of maintaining that gimmick. He lived that gimmick. It was a big thing for him to finally, come out of the gimmick in interviews and stuff. And I admire him for that. I think that was really cool that he did that. Yeah, so as you said, somebody, your age, Dimmy, you grew up seeing that. That's your impressions as a kid. Well, it's funny the things that hit you as a kid. I can tell you guys a quick story. A good friend of mine, when I lived in New York, still a good friend of mine. His name was Richie. Phenomenal athlete. Was an all-state athlete in high school and football. He is now a Brazilian jiu-jitsu that stuff. A Brazilian jiu-jitsu black belt and instructor. He has won strongman contests, just phenomenal athlete. And he had his own gym for a while on the south side of Amsterdam where I used to work. So I used to work out at his gym. Oh, it's just funny the things that hit you when you're a kid. So one day, all the boxing and wrestling stuff was in the basement of the gym. So I'm down in the basement and I'm hitting the bag. And Richie comes in and he had a young guy named Eddie Fivey with him. Eddie Fivey has his own, I don't know if he's still got it, I think he does, has his own Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu gym. He was a competitive MMA fighter and a really good one. And at the time, he was like 19, 20 and just started in the business, and he was hot. I mean, Eddie was a good fighter, a really good fighter. So anyway, Richie and Eddie are coming down the stairs, and I was down there hitting the bag, and Richie told me about this. I didn't know this was all going on. And Richie says, we're walking down the stairs, and all of a sudden, Eddie just stops. And he's like, what are you doing? And he goes, that's Curtis Candy. Richie goes, yeah, sure is. Big ups, wow. And he goes, I loved him as a kid. He's one of the reasons I got into fighting. Richie's being because Richie and I work together every day, and he knows I'm just a buffoon. And he goes, cool. He goes, you know, I know him pretty well. I can ask him if he'll let you suck his dick. He goes, but it was only funny because it's funny the things that stick with us as a kid. You know, it wasn't a big deal. I was just run-of-the-mill psycho working little dinky, ridiculous indie shows, but Eddie was a kid. And when you're a little kid and you see this guy and he's beating people with barbed wire bats and he's bleeding all the time and he's talking shit to everybody, and, you know, and back then I won a lot of my matches. I was beating up all the good guys and he gravitated towards that. It's what got him leaning towards fighting. So even though it was just a second-rate indie wrestler, it made a mark on him, and it was funny. And Jack says, did you let him suck that dick? Shame on you if not, you were that kid's hero. But it's just funny. I mean, this was a guy who's a legitimate badass. I mean, really good mixed martial artist. And Rock said he was just completely starstruck. And Richie's nickname was Rock. And that's what I told him. I said, he's right, you're wrong. You don't have the proper respect. You refuse to recognize. Eddie Fivey knows. You don't know shit. Favorite actor? Again, Odin, I'm not big on favorites. It depends on moods. I will say James Earl Jones will always be one of my favorites for a number of reasons. Two stick out most of all. The speech in Field of Dreams is absolutely brilliant. And when he guest starred, he killed me when he guest starred in an episode of The Big Bang Theory. Ay, 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 bang, bang. He was just... The Sandlot was a great movie. But yeah, I've got a lot of actors I really like, but he always comes to mind. Samuel L. Jackson always comes to mind. He's some of the characters he played. English, motherfucker, do you speak it? Robin Williams. Robin Williams would definitely be right up there as one of my all-time favorites. Excuse me. Big Green says, to get back on the Gohan topic, I'm sure Chi-Chi had a small part in it, but he also hated fighting. Cell had to push him to his breaking point before he finally fought. Gohan wanted to be a scholar. Yeah, I guess that's true. That's true. But it's still something I can blame Chi-Chi for, and I don't like Chi-Chi, so. Austin says, I love Mark Henry. What about you? Oh, sure. How can you not love Mark Henry? What a good dude. Mark Henry's just, if you see interviews with him and stuff, Mark Henry is just such a chill, quality guy. He really is. So likable. I don't see how anybody could not like Mark Henry. Really, really good dude. I would love to get to meet him. Juan says, yeah, Robin Williams was such a great soul. Missed the guy every day, 100%. Couldn't agree. Me too, Jack. He says, Robin, one of the very few celebrity deaths I actually cared about. Yeah, me too. That one actually affected me. Well, too, Robin Williams was a lot of the reason I got into doing stand-up. You know, I was watching him early on in his career back when he'd just come off working the just doing street comedy in San Francisco and everything, and just a phenomenal talent. And he was such a good actor. Good old sexual chocolate. That was a great. That whole thing was awesome, Big Green. That whole sexual chocolate gimmick. Nick is having a major seizure. Oh, I must have missed it. Somebody on the chat, you mean? I missed it. Ashley says, what did you think of girls doing the duck face in pictures back in the day? People hated it. Yeah, I was one of those people. I thought it was stupid. I really did. Chrome says, just out of curiosity, did Bob survive the move? Oh, yeah. I'm Bob's out there still taking the beatings. He got to give it to him. He handles it like a champ. I was just kicking the shit out of him last night. Yep. Robin Williams was one of a kind. Couldn't agree more. Dayton Chris says, Mork and Mindy and Genie from Aladdin will always be my favorite Robin Williams roles. Like those, that wouldn't be my favorite. So, boy, he was so good in The Fisher King and Bicentennial Man. Oof. Those are two not super well-known movies. If you guys want good stories, I mean, good heartfelt stories, and you got some free time, check either one of those. Bicentennial Man or The Fisher King. Both have Robin Williams, and both are just incredible. Anybody that's seen them, agree, disagree? But those are Good Morning Vietnam. Yep, he was great in that. And even at that, Jack, as good as he was in that, I liked him better in those other two. Yeah. Wasn't it, Nacho? Bicentennial Man was just so good. And again, so was The Fisher King. Fisher King's phenomenal. Hey, Marco. I'd like to react to more stand-up comics in the future. That actually, Odin, I had meant to, and that's just one of those things. Dead Poet Society, another good one, Johnny. That's just one of those things that the damaged memory dropped the ball on, because I love stand-up comedy, always will. We played the adult kid. Yeah, what was that one? I know what you're talking about. I can't think of the name of it. Chrome says, poor Bob, not even leaving the state will stop you pounding him every night. Well, not every night anymore. I'm older now. Can't go every night. Do you know I never watched iRobot, Nacho? I've never watched that one. Robin Williams and Jumanji. Jumanji was good. That wasn't one of my favorites. It was good. I mean, it was certainly entertaining, but it wasn't one of my favorites. Bill Burr's hilarious, Dimmy. Jesus Christ. Bill Burr. I don't think he'd be right up there for me, but I think right now, currently, it's Chappelle. Chappelle just absolutely destroys me. He's so freaking funny. But Burr does too. Fury, I touch lots of grass. I'm sick of the grass after mowing that hill. Oh, Chrome says, did you hear Will Smith is supposedly going to sue Chris Rock over him mocking over the punch? Lots of luck with that. What kind of bitch is this guy? Sue away. This is America. He has every right to. I saw that witness stand up, Chris Rock, when he went after Will Smith. What are you going to sue him for? Everything he said was true. What? And you're going to sue somebody over their stand-up because you were mentioned? What? How did Will Smith turn into such a grade A bitch? I mean, he is. He is an absolute beta. Odin is salty, says, I like Bill Burr's joke of comparing abortion to baking a cake. I always laugh at that joke. He's brutal, Bill Burr. Oh, Jesus. Demi says, Chappelle's style now is interesting. You can tell he's gotten older and moving towards the George Carlin type. Agreed, Demi. Agreed. Yeah, he's got a different way of looking at things than he did when he was always funny, don't get me wrong. But yes, you're right. You can see that there's been like a metamorphosis of how he looks at life. Jeff Dunham's cool, Austin. I usually do not like ventriloquists, but I do like Jeff Dunham. I definitely like him. Oh, I miss Norm Macdonald too, Johnny. He was one of the bravest comics I've ever seen. When you can walk out on a stage like Norm Macdonald would do and intentionally tell horrible, stupid, awful jokes and do it for a good 10-15 minutes of no reaction until the crowd finally realizes what's funny is that you're doing it on purpose. You got balls of steel. And that was Norm Macdonald. The best delivery, yes. And Norm Macdonald, that story he told on one of the talk shows, I forgot which one of the who was hosting it, but when, when he had to fill more time than he thought, and he took like a joke that takes 20 seconds to tell and turned it into a 5-minute masterpiece. that was prime Norm. Hey Storm, good to see you. Chrome says he was speaking to the unfunny man on the Daily Show. Apparently, Will Smith shared his thoughts on the situation, saying that he was deeply hurt by Rock's words. I'll sue him. Was he? Was he? Did you read it, Chrome, or did you see it? Was he being serious? I can't believe anybody's that much of a bitch. I don't care if he's deeply hurt. So what? Yeah, Chris Rock wasn't too fond of trouting up on stage and smacking him in the head either. I can't believe, I don't want to believe, because I always liked Will Smith prior to Jada, that he's turned into enough of a bitch to think he's going to sue somebody over telling jokes about him. Retro Mint Man says, Kevin Dunn hates Majin Buu? Kevin Dunn from WWE? Odin says, I used to like Gabriel Iglesias until he started doing a bunch of stuff with Disney and Warner Brothers, start being more kid-friendly. That's what happened to me too, Odin. My wife too, and she likes the family-friendly stuff, but he got less funny. We used to watch Fluffy all the time. And then the last few shows has been like, nope, no thanks. You know who else I do like? You know who's really funny? If you haven't watched him before, he's still got several specials on Netflix, is Joe Coy. Joe Coy's a funny dude too. But yeah, right now for me, Chappelle's the king. Yep. Mortem says Jada made him a monster, especially after all her little adventures. I know, and it's sad. She didn't even make him a monster. She made him a bitch. That's what's too bad. Oh, ribbing on how Kevin and Vince hate overweight people. Gotcha, Mint Man. All right, I got you. Yes. Yeah. Oh, Vince, definitely. And Kevin Dunn. You're right. Yeah, well, we'll do that then. If you guys, there's that many of you that like it here, I'll, now, I got to remind you guys, if I post something on wrestling, there's a good chance you're going to have to just be looking at the channel every so often and seeing what's been posted recently, because those aren't big money makers to YouTube, so they very well may not send you a notification. Right. Jack Queen says, Jada is Jada, but at the end of the day, it's all his fault. He's responsible for his behavior. I agree. And it's too bad that he doesn't see that. And like I say, he allowed her to turn him into whatever the hell he is now. Talk about being deeply hurt and some other things. Have you, Chrome? Again, it was somebody who I used to really enjoy, so I just hate seeing him turned into this. It's just like the whole thing he only slapped Chris Rock because he thought Jada wanted him to. You saw his initial reaction to the joke. He was laughing. He looks over at her perturbed little mug. And that's the thing, too. He picked Chris Rock. And Chris Rock will say to himself, Chris Rock's not a fighter. He picked an easy target. Anybody here, does anybody here think that Will Smith would have done the same thing with the same joke if Joe Rogan was hosting? Does anybody think that would have happened? There's no... Joe Rogan, guys, is a legit badass. Joe Rogan has been into MMA. He's been into Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and martial arts. He's not even a big guy. He has got one of the nastiest front kicks I've ever seen. Joe Rogan would have killed him. Nah, exactly. No one cares if he's deeply hurt, Jack says. Right. That's what I mean. He knew who he was picking on. He knew what he could get away with. And Chris Rock said that himself. He knew he could get away with it. I would have loved to have seen the difference if it was Joe Rogan. Yeah, exactly. Joe would go boom, boom, boom. He would have played the race card if it was Joe. I don't think he would have got to play anything. If he would have gone up there and took a swing at Joe Rogan, he'd have been lucky to get out of the hospital. Yeah, or The Rock. I'll tell you, as badass as The Rock is, I think Rogan would make it even worse on him. Rock was able to roll with the punch. Oh, yeah. he's just, that was just such a bitch move. I think Jaden Smith is kind of nuts, Zuchen. I think he's an annoying kid. Yeah, Rogan, again, a lot of people don't realize that, but Rogan can fight. I mean, Rogan can legitimately fight. Whether you like him or not, it has nothing to do with it. The facts are he can fight. And like I say, he has got, oof. I've seen him training. I've seen him sparring. He's got nasty legs. He's got wicked kicks. All right, guys, I got to go. I got to go out and do some running for my wife. I got to go pick up some drugs from the pharmacy and everything. Thanks for this. This was a blast. I like doing these streams outside. This was a really good time. I appreciate all the conversation and everything and all the advice. The next wrestling video I do, I'll post here. As I said, guys, those of you who are interested, kind of try and look for them, because once I put wrestling and wrestler and all that stuff in the title, I don't think, at least for now, you're going to get a lot of notifications, but hopefully you'll be able to find them. Yeah, thank you guys for the conversation. This was a really, really good time. Great way to spend a Sunday afternoon. I agree, Miss Hogg. And I will talk to you guys as soon as I can.